Hello everybody and welcome to World of Tanks with Taffy. Today we're going to be looking at the IS3 Tier 8 Russian heavy tank. To get to this you have to go through the KV-1, the KV-1S and the IS tank. Trust me, it's worth the grind. This will then lead you on to the IS-8 and eventually to the Tier 10 IS-7. Both great tanks after this, so don't worry, this is a grind that's going to lead on to good things. Today we're going to be comparing this tank with its direct counterpart, the amazing Tiger 2 that we looked at a couple of reviews ago, and also the T-34, which we're yet to fully look at, but I'll compare some of the stats with you. T-34 is a premium tank, so not many of you may have this, but we're going to compare it all the same because it's the only American heavy that I have. Okay, IS3, let's jump straight into the stats and let's show you what this thing's all about. 1500 hit points. It's quite a nice bit of health here, so let's do a direct comparison with the T-34. Exactly the same, 1500 as you can see. Tiger 2 does have 1600 health, but it's slightly slower. Slower tanks tend to have more health. The IS-3 is a hell of a lot lighter as well, as you can see up there. 49 tons to the Tiger's approximate 71, yep, and T-34's 65. So the IS-3 is quite a light heavy, actually, when you think of it at Tier 8. Engine horsepower 700, speed limit 38 kilometers per hour, traverse speed 30 degrees, hull armor. Here's where the IS-3 gets interesting. 110 degrees. Yeah, it says 110 degrees, but as you can see, we've got a pike nose here on the front of the IS-3. Now, pike noses are brilliant as long as you are face on to the enemy. If you try and angle the IS-3, you're going to have a bad day, because all you're doing, if we skim up to the top here, as you can see, pike nose coming down here, the turret's slightly blocking it, but as you can see, pike coming from here and here. Now if you try and angle this tank to the side, incoming shots coming down for where the service record blinky bit is, you're effectively making this area flat. If we rotate back again, so the shot's still coming down from the right at the top here, service record is going to hit the front of the pike and more chance of ricocheting off these steep angles. I'll show you it from the front as well. Here we are, pike nose from the front. You can see this Y here, which donates the pike. All you're doing is flattening the angle. So more shots are going to likely to bounce off that side, but if they see you here, you can get more hits on here. And the ammo rack is more to the front in the IS-8 than most tanks, so you're going to get ammo racked as well. Don't be fooled by these bits of track. They don't do anything. Just purely for decorative reasons. Driver's hatch here. It's quite small, but with the IS-8, you know, with the IS-3 rather, that's what we're talking about today. It's a target. People can shoot at it, and there's also a chance if you get the shot right under here, you can damage the turret ring. Now, for the IS-8, as most Russian tanks, it doesn't have good gun depression. So when it's cresting a ridge, fire at this bit under here. This lower glacis, you go right into the tank. It's very weak hull armor in there. Sides 90 degrees. It has got a side skirt, kind of. As you can see, the hull of the tank is about here. Here and here. What's that noise? Oh, it's the fans. Never mind. There we go. So you've got the whole tank comes about here in this box shape. Now as you can see, this little side skirt bit comes over and around here. So that technically it counts as spaced armor, as far as I'm aware, but it's not really going to save you much. If you get shot in the side of the IS-3, prepare to be in a lot of pain. Rear again, even though it's angled, as you can see, nothing. The turret of the IS-3 is even more interesting, because from long ranges the turret is practically impenetrable from the IS-3. It's very rounded, mushroom dome turret. Very lovely. Gun manlet's also very, very tough, and the hatches on the top, minuscule. Don't shoot the machine gun turret. You should know that by now. It's not going to do anything to the tank. One thing is, if you're in a taller tank, for example the T-34 or the Tiger 2, what you can do is aim at this specific spot here on the IS-3. This little bit here. Aim at that if you're in a taller tank or if you're above the tank on an incline, and you will go through. You just will, trust me on that. If the IS-3 is face-hugging you, he should be waggling his turret, making his gun go up in your face, or like this, like that, that's going to put people off from shooting straight. It does to me, anyway. You might be better. Yeah, shooting at IS3, shoot at that if he's face-hugging you. Sides, if you got shots at the side of the turret, aim for the middle-ish, middle to the rear, because that's where your commander's going to be sat. If you have an option to shoot at the side of the IS3, plonk your shots to the forward half of the tank, because if you're aiming from quite a distance away, if you plonk it over the back, shot can go in this half of the circle up here. If you plonk it at the front, you're going to cover more of the tank, and you're going to hit more of it. Rear of the turret, you can bounce some, I mean it's 100 millimeters, sides 172, and the front is 243, but don't count on bouncing much from the rear or even the sides really, if you're facing, you know, tier 8, 9 and 10 guns. Now, research tree for the IS3. This again is quite interesting. Now, turrets, let me just get this, because I don't want to get this wrong. Yep. Okay. First thing you want to do with the IS3, you should have the top. Oh my god, what am I doing there? Don't want to buy that. Right, top gun on the IS is the 122mm D25T tier 8 gun. Now, go to the IS3, mount that straight away. You hear me? Straight away mount this gun. The reason being, because this gun here, the 100mm, it's not good enough. You just want to be using the D25T to grind out the experience of the BL9. First of all, with the IS3, you grind out the suspension, you get that engine up, then you get the turret, so then you get the gun, then you get the turret. Suspension, engine, gun, turret. Suspension engine makes you go faster. The gun is adequate at this tier if you know how to shoot. Then you get the gun, then you get the turret, because the top gun, the 122mm BL9, will go onto the stock turret. Okay, now the research path is sorted. We can go back to the stats. Stats for the gun, as you see, BL9, 243 to 488 standard shell damage penetration, 146 to 281. This is a nice gun, but it gets let down by its accuracy. Dispersion 0.4 for every 100 meters. Aiming time 3.4. That's bad. Rate of fire 4.51. Compared to the T34, it's faster. Compared to the Tiger 2, it's a lot slower. Turret traverse 26 degrees. It'll see you right. View range 350. Signal range 730. T34, 10 more meters on the view range, and slightly less on the signal range. So, sorry, slightly more on the signal range, 15 meters more, but 15 meters, 10 meters, it's not really. If you're moving at full pelt, you're not going to really, it's not going to really matter much. Only if you're sat all far away from each other, and even then, game might not even render you. Okay, now let's look at the shell loadout and the equipment on this thing. The IS3 is not blessed with a big ammo rack capacity. 13, 13, 2 is what split I've got, because I run this in a lot of team battles. You can run it with 4 or 5 APCR, 21 AP, 2 HE, just in case. You can run it with no HE, 23, or even a full ammo rack capacity of 28 rounds. However, you can see tier 10s in this thing, so you really want to be prepared to shoot at. If you really want to be prepared, if you're coming up against an E100, this gun really isn't going to quite pull its own weight. That extra bit of penetration on the APCR, yes, I know it's nearly 5,000 credits each. Even if you pack 3, 4 of them, it's going to be worth it, trust me. Kits on this, small repair kit, small first aid kit. Choice, you've got a choice here. between remove speed governor, manual fire extinguisher, and automatic fire extinguisher. Possibly Lend-Lease oil as well. With me, I always go for fire extinguishers. Remove speed governor, yes, but it damages your engine. It's just pointless, in my opinion. Lend-Lease oil will give you much more power to the engine, but it costs you 2,000 credits extra. I've gone for automatic fire extinguishers, as I said, because I run this a lot in team battles, and I really hate getting set on fire. I like doing it to other people, but I hate it when I'm on fire, because I have to mash my spam click my number 6 key on the keyboard, and it just makes me panic, because it's fire, it's a primal thing. Okay, equipment loadout on the IS3. These are a must if you're using it as the heavy assault tank, well, assault tank that it should be. Enhanced gun laying drive, for God's sakes, get the aiming time down if you're stationary. Large caliber tank gun rammer, that gets your rate of fire up. And vertical stabilizer, 20% accuracy to movement and turret rotation. This tank used to be, and to an extent still is, the main tank for tier 8 tank company battles and team battles, because it's so good. It's got decent armor, decent chunk of health, the gun is very good, kicks out very nice bit of damage, decent penetration, and poking out from in and out from behind buildings, in and out from behind cover. The V-stab is very good, and also if you're moving in a line of about 4 or 5 IS3s, all firing at once, plus 20% accuracy, it's not going to hit every time, I'll say that, but you can pull off some, if you get lucky, you can pull off some crazy shots with this. I'm talking 350, 400 meters, you still get the killing blow, if you get lucky. It's all down to the RNG, I'm afraid, on that one. Now, crew skills. Here's where we've got to hop over to the IS8, because my crew is in the IS8 at the moment. Now, for the commander, I've gone for repairs on his first skill, I went for then snapshot on the gunner, driver, clutch braking, it turns faster on the IS3, and loader I went repairs. Commander, you're perfectly okay to put mentor on it, and then switch it out for 6th sense and then go into mentor. I didn't. I went and switched all my crew skills out for brothers in arms on my IS3, because I was going hell for leather for the IS8 and the IS7. I still haven't got the IS7, but I was going hell for leather for it, and I wanted my crew to be the best that they could be to get the experience you needed for the IS8 and get that next tank. As you can see, I've gone for repairs on the first section of this, just because I play this in teams and I just play it for fun. And I can accelerate the crew training. Obviously, as all tanks, when you research the IS8 and you keep hold of your IS3, you may wish to sell it, doesn't matter. Then you can go and research the D10T if you haven't already. I don't think. Yeah, if you haven't already on the IS, don't know why you would, but if you haven't already, get the D10T, elite this tank, train up your next crew in it. Because the crew that you've got in your IS3, by the time you grind out the experience needed for the IS8, you'll switch them over to that, start it again on the IS3, switch the IS3 crew into the IS8, IS8's crew into the IS7, keep all the tanks. You can platoon with your mates at 8, 9 and 10 then, with Russian tanks that you know and hopefully you will love. And it's just good. And you can also, if you're willing to spend gold, switch them over to a tank destroyer or whatnot, retrain the crew. It's always nice to have a set of crew handy. So said with the playstyle with the IS3, you want to be quite aggressive with this tank. The gun is not very accurate. You can't do what the Tiger II does and sit in the second, third or even fourth line of tanks, hypothetically, and sit back and shoot. It's much more aggressive than T-34, because T-34 is quite slow and it does not have any hull armor. We'll come to that in the review that I eventually do of it when I get around to doing it. IS3, very aggressive, very in-your-face tank. This is, you want to be getting in. Don't have to face hug. If it's another IS3, try and get around with him. Work with your teammates with this tank. Make sure that when you're on your reload, which is around about 11 seconds, the other tanks are putting shots into them. Keep your lower hull obviously covered and that lower glacis. keep your turret pointed to the enemy. If you do have to face hug something big, keep wiggling that turret around, make sure they don't get a perfect shot at the top of your turret. All I can say with this tank is I find it great fun. Some people don't like it, but I find it great fun. It's very aggressive, very good, and it puts you right in for the style of playing the IS-8, which is a similar playstyle, slightly different in some areas, but similar playstyle, and then keeps you right for the IS-7. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.